Hey guys, Stu here, bringing you a DKC3 103% tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at Doorstop Dash, one of the hardest levels in World 1 in my opinion. The reason it's so difficult is that when you're trying to optimize opening up the doors, they sometimes end up being too low that you can't get under them, so it can be kind of frustrating. But I'll take you through it and show you all my visual cues that I use to try to make it as consistent as possible. Let's get to it. It's time to take a look at the visual cues that I use to help me get through this level consistently. So let's start with the first handle. We're going to do 2 rolls and a jump to get there. Then as the door handle rises, there are 2 dark brown lines on the left side of the door frame. I want to jump off this handle with the min jump once the door rises to just above halfway between those 2 dark brown lines. Should be able to roll, jump, fly to this next handle. Then for this one, I want to hold it until the bottom of the handle is just past the halfway point of the 4th banana in that string of bananas. I like to max jump off of this handle, and then I can go straight into my roll through the next set of rats. You can technically drop down from the handle, by holding down and B when you go off. The problem is then there's a chance that you could roll too early through the rats because you'll have to time when you press Y. You can't press it right away. So just to be safe about it, I think the easiest, and it's still fast strat, would be to just max jump off this handle and then roll through the rats when you land. Since you rolled through the rats, you don't have to release, you don't have to jump at the end of your roll. You can go straight into your next roll. Once you get to this handle, there's a rope to the right side of Dixie that kind of like droops down and back up. I want to get the bottom of the handbar halfway between that rope and the ground below that rope. So right about there. Should be able to get 2 rolls over to this. And then here, there is like a diagonal line in the background. There's like a almost, how would I describe it? There's definitely like a dark spot in the background, but then there's like one line that's kind of brighter in the middle of that background at a diagonal. I like to take this handle about, a third of the way down that line, and then jump fly over those 3 Bs. And then you'll notice that after I get over the 3 Bs, I release and repress Y, and if you do it right, it should take you right into a roll, and you'll be able to use that roll to go under the door and then I should be able to... I'm not coming out of the pause like that. So I should be able to get one more roll on this ground floor, and then I like to team up when Dixie, the left side of Dixie is like just past this column, right? Because then I can jump up into the left to and then jump up into the left and then team throw Kitty to the handlebar. For this last one, before the first bonus, I'm going to use the bananas again as a cue. I want the door to be, I think it's just at the line of the bottom last banana, just at the line of the bottom of the last banana, and then I should be able to jump fly into it. So I wanted to clarify one thing before we get into the bonus, actually. When you're on this handle, using the door to the bottom of that last banana is fine. So like this should be fine to jump off from here. And what I want to do is I actually do want to do a min jump. It is a min jump, and then if the door is really low, that's when you want to release and repress left really quickly, just to make sure you drop your height just enough to get under the door. You don't want to come at it at too high of an angle, essentially. So like right there, I released and repressed left. But again, it really is just a tap of B off of the handle, and then release left as needed very quickly, just to make sure that you're low enough to get under the door. So for this first bonus, what we're going to do is during the fade into the bonus, we're going to hold Y left and B to make sure we jump as soon as we load into the bonus. And we're going to use that to collect the far right 2 columns of stars. When we land, we're going to jump again to collect the next 2 columns minus the bottom right 3 that are showing currently. Then I'm going to hold the handle up until like right there. There's like the star that's just to the left of me. I want the flat part of that star to be in line with the bottom of the handle. That's my cue to jump. To get the top left side, or the top left stars of the right side room. Then when I'm coming to the left side room, I'm gonna jump up and collect the top right stars on this side of the room. And oftentimes what I'm gonna have to do is during that jump, I'm gonna have to like tap or press and release left a few times just to make sure I don't grab the handlebar on my way down. I don't want to grab the handlebar on the way down because that'll slow me down. So I'm gonna do that. Come to the left side of this. Jump up and collect those stars, and then on my way back, then I can jump and collect this diagonal 3 set on the grab. Now typically there would be like maybe 1, maybe 2 more stars on this left side room that I would have to grab, and I'll be able to grab those when I drop down, when I jump off the handle, just kind of like the visual cue for the very first door handle in Doorstop. I'm going to hold this one again till the door is like halfway between those 2 dark brown lines on the left side door frame. And I should be able to jump off the handle, roll under there, and then I'm going to use that roll to collect a lot of the stars, and jump up to the handle on the right side room. As soon as I grab those stars and jump to this handle, immediately I want to hold down right and B. I want to press down right and B to drop down to the final stars, and you'll either have to wiggle left or wiggle right to collect whatever star you missed during that drop down, and you'll be right on top of the coin. And you should end with, if done optimally, you should end with a low 23, but a high 22 is still a very acceptable time, very nice time. So it's that bonus takes a little bit of practice, especially to do kind of quickly and make sure you don't miss any stars. The most common star I think I would miss would be the top left star in the right side room, the one where I'm holding the handle until the handlebar gets to in line with the star. That jump, if you don't wait long enough, I think what ends up happening is you bonk the ceiling, and so you don't get far enough left to collect that like final star in the right side room. So that one can be kind of annoying, so make sure you practice that visual cue a little bit. So when you come out of the first bonus, you should end up in about this position. You should be shot out from above. I typically like to run a little bit and then roll jump to the rope, just to make sure I'm at max speed with my roll. If you roll too early, you can get caught in a situation where you end up with like a slow roll. So I just try to run a little bit and then roll. Then on this rope, you could just climb up the rope naturally, and that's fine. But if you're feeling a little bit spicy, what you can do is you can do rope jumps up these ropes, like so. To execute a rope jump, you're gonna hold. If you're on the left side of the rope, you're gonna hold up and left, and then press B to jump, right? And then as soon as you get the jump off, you're gonna press. You're gonna switch from holding left on the D-pad to right on the D-pad, and that'll hook you right back into the rope. Now you'll notice if I just do nothing else, she transitions over to the right side of the rope, and I don't want to do that. So as soon as you hook back to the right, you're already switching your D-pad from holding right to holding left, so you stay on the left side of the rope, right? So it's very quick, and it's as soon as you're holding left on the D-pad again, then you can jump again, right? And then repeat the process. So essentially I'm going left, right, left on the D-pad while doing 2 jumps to get up this rope. Doing these 2 rope jumps here should save about 0.15 seconds over just climbing the rope naturally if done optimally. If you have some sloppy rope jumps like that, that probably breaks about even. And if you have really bad ones, like something like that, you're gonna lose time. So make sure you practice rope jumps before you decide to execute them in a run. But I think they look pretty fancy, and they do save time, so worthwhile if you're trying to get to a really high level. My visual cue for jumping off of this rope is like when there are 2 bananas left, you should be able to max jump to reach this platform up here. Now, when I get up there, what I'm going to do is roll jump to this handle, and you can see that the handle is kind of going down through a dark patch in the background. There's like I look at it as like 2 distinct dark like blobs essentially, and right now it's in the first half of the first blob, and then now it's just crossed into the top of the second dark patch. When it crosses into that second dark patch, that's kind of my visual cue to drop down, and what I want to do is roll jump fly over this first set of 3 Bs. Doing it this way, you'll end up saving, I think it's like 0.3 seconds over the other way. I'll show you in just a minute. But the one thing to note is, you notice how I did my roll jump. I did my roll and I let it go for a decent bit to build up momentum and get really close to the B before I jumped out of it. You got to be kind of careful. You don't want to roll too deep and roll into the B and take damage. It's not the worst thing ever, because there is a DK barrel on the other side of this door coming up. But obviously you don't want to have to crack open the barrel and swap. That is kind of time consuming. So make sure you practice that roll jump fly. The other thing to note about that roll jump fly is on the release of fly, if I just release and repress Y, I believe a lot of the time you'll end up rolling as soon as you touch the ground. So you might notice during my playthrough, I try to like release and repress right as well, just like 2 or 3 times, just to make sure I don't actually get a roll off when I land on the ground. And then I should be able to go to this side, and then I'm gonna run under the second set of 3 Bs and then roll under this door. Now, the easier way to do this is you're just gonna, here, let me reset these gonna just hold this, and I just kind of, at that point, I'm just gonna kind of time the door handle release for when I know I can drop down and run under all the 6 Bs. Again, it's not too much slower to do it this way. So if you have struggles with the roll jump fly over the first set of 3 Bs, this is perfectly fine to do, absolutely no problem. And they're gonna roll jump fly to this handle over here. You'll notice how I didn't crack open the halfway barrel. I try to avoid cracking open halfway barrels if I don't need them, because I believe I was told that they do cause just a handful of lag frames. Not a huge deal if you do crack it open. It's not like gonna be an end of the world, but you don't probably plan on dying in this level, so there's really no reason to grab it. So I try to make sure I'm under the handle, like under the barrel before I grab the handle. Fortunately for this handle, you don't have to time anything. because the bottleneck here is the elevator ride coming up and down. So you can just hold it all the way down and then jump on this elevator. Now you want to try to time your jump here so that you can like cut that corner like that. You know, if I had taken the elevator ride any higher, that's essentially wasted time on the elevator. That's just a small optimization, not a huge deal, but it's a pretty easy one just to make sure you time your jump up to the top platform. Although you do want to make sure to try not to bonk, because part of the bonus of doing this corner cut jump is that you're already building your horizontal speed, and if you bonk, it'll kill your horizontal speed so that you'll have to rebuild it when you land. So you'll be actually kind of losing time over if you'd ridden the elevator just a little bit higher. So you're going to be able to roll through this rat. You're going to be able to roll through that rat, and since you roll through the enemy, you don't have to jump out of your roll. You only have to jump out of your roll if you don't roll through anything. So since you rolled through the enemy, you can go straight into your next roll, jump into the barrel, and I start mashing B as soon as I jump into this barrel. That way, the moment it turns upwards, I get shot out. And now for this handle, what I want to do is right now, the bottom of the handle is at the top part of like a dark brown patch in the background, like a dark brown horizontal line. I want to do it, like to hold the handle right until it crosses into the dark brown box in the background, essentially. That should be held long enough now that I can hold down in B, or press down B to drop down from the handle, go into the barrel and shoot left. Now I already released Y, so I could press pause, but normally I'd be holding Y coming out here, and I can just roll, jump, fly to this rope. Again, at this rope, I like to do left side rope jumps. That's my preference. The B that's above us right now is on the right side, so I'll transition to the left side of the rope and I'll do 2 rope jumps. Again, should save about 0.15 seconds over climbing the rope. You can just climb the rope, and that's totally fine. Oops. Now, once I get those rope jumps off, I'm gonna be in a position where I can go straight into it. Let me reset this. Let me reset that guy. I should be in a position where I should be able to do that, right? I should be able to land on the platform, do a tiny little roll, jump to the handle, and I'll be able to hold that handle down for a little bit before the B is in my face. You can see that by holding that handle down a little bit, how much the door has already risen up, which is nice, because that essentially is less time that I have to hold the handle once I land from my jump. Right? So now that I've done that, I can jump, fly over the B, land back on the handle, hold the door up for the remaining piece of time that is required to get under the door. And I think for this one, I actually do just above the bottom. You could probably use the same visual cue that we did in the bonus, the first bonus, and in the very first handle of this whole level, between the 2 dark brown lines on the left side door frame. But I feel like you could even do it a little bit earlier, but whatever. So something about that between those 2 dark brown lines should get you into this second bonus. I forgot to mention one thing about entering the second bonus, and that's the alternate strat of, instead of grabbing the handle early, what you can do is you can just let the B pass you by naturally, and then you can jump up to the handle. For this second bonus, all you're gonna really do, it's a pretty simple bonus. You're just gonna roll twice, go to the handle, the first handle, jump, fly, go to that handle, jump, fly, and then land on the ground and roll into the coin. It's very, very simple. Although I did want to mention that I have seen another way to do this, and the last time I timed this, which granted it's been a while since I've actually timed this, but there is a way that you can do a later secondary roll so that you end up on the second handle instead of the first handle. But for my timing, they were pretty much the same. And since I find grabbing the second handle to be slightly riskier, since you're closer to that first B that's swinging past you, I just decided, nah, screw it, I'm not going to do it that way. So I do 2 rolls right away, jump, fly to the first handle, and then proceed from there. But yeah, that's a pretty easy bonus. It shouldn't give you too much difficulty. So coming out of that second bonus, you're going to see there's a bear coin to the top left of us. We definitely want to grab that. That one only costs us about 0.2 seconds compared to like rolling through this rat and going to this handle. So since it's so short, of a time loss, and since we need 50 to 55 bear coins, this is definitely one of the ones that we want to include on our bear coin route. So you make sure you just jump up here and then jump grab that bear coin. When you grab this handle, you'll notice the camera starts panning down, and there's like a rope that kind of droops down just to the left of the handle. I want the bottom of the handle to be in line with like the bottom of that droop, and then I can drop down, roll jump to the rope, and I do two rope jumps on the left hand side. Again, you can just climb the rope if you like, if you're not keen on the rope jumps, but just remember the rope jumps do save you just a little bit of time. So if you're successful at them, it's definitely worth going for, and it does set you up. Like as soon as your second rope jump is done, I'm usually in the right position to jump to this platform. Should be able to get 2 roll jumps, and then a roll through the rat, and then a jump into this barrel. So that's that next section. I mashed B as soon as I enter the barrel, so that as soon as it turns upwards, it'll shoot me out. Then I have to wait for the second barrel to face upwards, so that I can shoot out of that one. Now here, as the handle moves down, like right about here, maybe just a touch lower, take an imaginary line from the bottom of the handle to the right side wall, and you'll notice that there are like 2 dark brown lines. One's kind of like a little bit long, one's short and one's a little bit longer. The handle right now is about in line with the like short brown line. That's my cue to drop down. I also drop down to the left so that I can skirt past the top barrel, enter in the bottom barrel, and when it faces right, I can shoot out and roll. As soon as I land, I can roll jump into this next handle. And for this one, you can see that there's a wooden post, a light wooden post to my left, and right next to the light wooden post, there's like 2 really dark spots, and between those dark spots, there's like a 4-sided polygon that's like lighter colored. I want to take the bottom of the handle just past the top point of that lighter colored polygon, and I should be able to jump fly to the rope and rope jump past this B. This is pretty tight and pretty scary. It definitely takes a lot of practice before we can get this consistent. And make sure you mess around with this, because the hitbox of the B is actually a little bit forgiving here. You can actually go a lot higher up the rope than you expect before you need to rope jump off. But I have lost plenty of runs to this, and it is kind of frustrating because it is at the very end of the level. So make sure you practice it a lot first before you decide to actually implement it in the run. It is important to note that not only is the rope jump kind of tricky here to avoid taking damage, but the other thing that's difficult is making sure you hold the handle the right length. If you hold it too long, then the B will be further left by the time you get on the rope, and it'll be harder to do the rope jump, if not impossible, without taking damage. And then the other issue is that you could hold the handle too short, and then the door up top won't be low. It won't be high enough for you to get under. But in this case, I got it perfect. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I like to see. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, which is totally fine, you can hold the handle longer, and then drop down, wait for the B to bypass the rope, and then you can climb up the rope on the right side. And that's totally fine. You should be able to get a roll jump under the door, and then a roll jump to this handle. I don't really have a visual cue for this one though. I kind of just hold it for a little bit and drop down, and then I roll jump under this door. And once I get past that, I do a very tiny roll, and then jump in such a, it should be like at the end of the shadow. Yeah, like at the end of that shadow, I should be jumping out of my roll so that I cut this corner nicely, because the bottleneck here is not your horizontal speed, it's your vertical speed. So you want to make sure you're already in free fall by the time you hit that corner. And if you just roll off the ledge, what happens when you roll off a ledge is you don't go straight down right away. You actually move mostly horizontal off the ledge, and then eventually start falling. So again, since the bottleneck is your vertical drop, I like to jump early in that shadow just to make sure I cut that corner. Like at the end of that shadow, I like to jump to make sure I cut that corner nicely. I also like to go out a little bit to the right. I like to go a little bit out to the right and then hook back to the left. I don't really have a visual cue for it, so just make sure you practice it a little bit. But I like to, again, just a little bit out to the right and then back to the left, so I cut this corner up here. When you land, you're going to go into a roll to pick this up, this barrel. As soon as you pick it up, you're going to turn to the right, jump, and throw. And you're going to try to get that throw off right away. And then as soon as you land, you better start, like, by throwing to the right, by turning and throwing to the right, your momentum kind of pushes you to the right. you want to make sure as soon as you land, you do a little jump so that the coin guy starts facing upwards so that your barrel can hit him. Now, what I like to do is not only do I like to jump up to the left, I also like to kind of bonk on this wall to kill my leftward momentum, so that I can go straight back to the right faster, as opposed to kind of like getting stuck under this platform here. Yeah, so I usually try to bonk on this wall so that I can collect the coin. Oops. So I can collect the coin and then roll jump to this platform pretty quickly. And again, I'm going to use the shadow here to roll as a cue to jump out of my roll to cut the corner. I also like to stay in line with this with this balloon. When the balloon gets sent all the way up to the top right, and like just as that sound goes off for getting your life collection, that's my cue to move back to the right to try to cut this top corner. You should be able to see it a little bit clearer in the IL demo I did at the beginning of the video. Since I was pausing here and releasing and repressing Y, kind of messed up my ability to do it on the fly right now. But that's kind of how I do it. Is I use the balloon as a visual cue to kind of know when to move back to the right. And as soon as I touch the ground, I should be able to roll jump quickly into this flag, and that ends this really difficult level. I'm actually scared to see how long this video tutorial is going to last, just because I know how tough this one is, and there's a lot of things to go over. Don't be hopefully you don't get too overwhelmed though, because while this is kind of a long tutorial and there's a lot to go over in this one, I will say that this, I think, is the hardest level in World 1. So if you can nail this down, I think things are looking bright for you.